Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm taking you with me on a ride down the rugged west coast of Norway. We're going from Egersund all the way down to Søgne, where I'm going to be meeting up with an old friend of mine called Johnny. I met Johnny in 2003, so that's 22 years ago now we've known each other. Haven't seen much of him since we left Norway, but we've stayed in touch, so it's going to be great to catch up with him again. And on the way down, we're going to be stopping at a really famous spot. And if you've ever Googled traveling through Norway, you may have come across this already. So I'm glad you can join me today. I really hope you enjoy it. I stopped at this place where there's a kind of a war memorial for some guys from New Zealand that died in the Second World War. And you see these a lot in Norway because obviously Norway was completely occupied by the Germans in the Second World War. And all sorts of heroic things went on in this country to bring about the freedom that we enjoy now. And so you get a lot of these war memorials with the names of the guys. I think there's 3 or 4 guys here. I think it's nice. We've got one right opposite our house as well, over the other side of the lake. I'll take you there sometime, but it's nice that this is kind of here. And I'll show you a little bit what this looks like. I'm going to head off again, but I'm going to head off down here and through some crazy like mountain tunnel things, which you can see behind me there. There's a tree in the way. Oh, and there's some other bikers pulled up as well. Mine just looks cooler though. I'm literally going to be about 3 days getting to Johnny's place if I... Oh wow, hang on, what kind of bird is that? That is huge. That is huge. Very cool. I've known of this place that I'm going to show you now for a long time, but I've never actually been there. Mountain goats up there. They look like they're all in a kind of a queue for something. What are they thinking? Okay. So back to this thing. This is called Helledan, and it's like a little house that's built underneath the rock. And if you've looked at kind of pictures of Norway, this one may well have cropped up a number of times because it's really, really well known. And it just looks so flipping dangerous. But obviously it's not, because it's been there for a long, long time. Can't tell you exactly how long until I have a look at the information thing over here, which I'm going to do now, and then I'll be your local expert. Give me a second. Okay, here we go. So basically it was built around the 1800s and was used and lived in until about 1920, when it was abandoned because there really isn't much to kind of live off out here. And bearing in mind that the road system that brings you into Jøssingfjord, where we are now, wasn't built until the early 20s. So you could only get here from the sea and into the fjord. That's quite a thing, and that people would want to live like that. You know, it's quite unusual really, but they did. Made a living out of fish, goats and sheep. But other than that, it was a pretty quiet existence, I imagine. There wasn't any Netflix around at that time. Wasn't much going on. Well, I finally got to see this place. I think I've actually driven past it because you do have the main road that goes straight through the mountain over there. And I feel like I've driven past it and seen it before and thought, oh, I should go down and have a look at that. But that was obviously years and years ago. But yeah, quite a piece of Norwegian tradition, Norwegian traditional housing, and a bit of Norwegian history right here. And you're literally just under the overhang of this massive, massive mountain. You think, man, if there's any movement there, there's nothing going to be left of this lot here. That's a little bit daunting, I have to say, but quite spectacular. I imagine the houses have been kept dry for all these years because rain literally can't hit them unless it's moving sideways. And it probably wouldn't be, it might be. But any normal rain that kind of comes down like that, it's not going to hit these. So I imagine that these are quite well preserved. Fantastic. I really do need to get a groove on right now. I'm going. I need to do a solid bit of riding now. Get down to Søgne because I'm really looking forward to meeting my old mate Johnny down there. I literally can't wait. I think we spent probably 75% of our time together 20 odd years ago, just laughing our heads off. And every time we've connected since, there's been a lot of laughs, though I haven't seen him face to face, but a couple of FaceTimes over the years. I've literally left everything on my bike over there, all my other camera gear, everything. I think I've even left the keys in there. No, maybe not. But you could. You genuinely could. The joys of Scandinavia, or more. I'm not sure what it's like everywhere in Scandinavia, but definitely Norway. My word. Saying all that, I'll get back now and the bike's gone, the whole lot. You don't have to think as much about kind of security and worrying that people are going to nick stuff, and it just isn't in the Norwegian nature to take something that's not theirs. And I absolutely love that. I think there's something really beautiful about it. I mean, it should be the norm, shouldn't it? Really, it should be the norm. And it probably was the norm at some point in history in most places, but it's strange how one person's wrongdoing leads to a massive kind of knock-on effect. Like someone stealing something from a street where nothing ever gets stolen means that everyone's going to start locking their doors. That means that the next generation are going to keep locking their doors, and so one act like that can really, really affect so much in the future. So I kind of remind myself that it actually is really important what I do, what I say, how I act, because that has a knock-on effect. about 10 minutes away from my mate Johnny's place, and that's been a fantastic ride. Really lovely. But I tell you something, the dangerous thing about driving in Norway is that you can easily get distracted by the scenery. Okay, so, well, I've arrived in this little place called Søgne. I've been here before actually. I worked down here before, years and years ago. I can't remember what I was doing, but I was down here anyway. And it's a lovely little place. But like I was saying earlier, if you're thinking of coming to Norway and doing some riding, then you really need to watch out for the fact that the scenery is really quite epic, and it really does distract you while you're riding, because it is that fantastic. And even me, that I've kind of lived here for a long time before, and kind of know what to expect when you come around the corner, that it's something epic. But even now, you know, I noticed a few times I had to keep my eyes on the road, because it is just absolutely phenomenal. It kind of takes your breath away. You're like, wow, look at that. That's just unusual, you know. Okay, so apparently somewhere up here, that's what my sat nav's saying. He did drop a pin. No, don't that. Hej Johnny, men jeg er liksom opp en bakke en plass.
Hvis du går ned igjen, så kan jeg vinke til deg.
Å, kan du det?
Du kommer ned bakken igjen.
Å, jeg kan liksom se deg ned i bakken her, kan jeg det?
Du kan se meg i bakken når du kommer ned nå.
Hei, topp. Ok, men da snakkes vi snart. Ha det, ha det.
Hei, hei.
Well, that was cool. I wasn't far away then. Helpful.